world is all starting to wake up. And I know when I had my awakening, everyone, all the gurus, all the teachers, all the masters, all the light workers, all the light warriors, everyone who has ever known that's been on the spiritual journey has fallen into this trap of the spiritual ego. On today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you the understanding of the darkness that lies within you and how it sometimes sets traps to make you fall into the spiritual ego. When you can understand the spiritual ego, you can understand how to balance out this darkness into your internal light. Let's get it. Lovely, beautiful beings, welcome to this 5th episode on embracing the ascension. The whole point of this series is to forget about the money, forget about physicality. It's literally about you awakening beyond your physical essence, you understanding that you are a divine being, and how to heal and how to expand your consciousness to save yourself and to become who you truly are meant to be and why God made you. Oh, that is the whole reason for this series. But if you've been on this journey with me so far, thank you. I appreciate you. And thank you for trusting in me to assist you on your journey. But if you're new to this channel, welcome. My name is Brittany Fontanez. What I do, I assist people in awakening their power so they can find their infinite love within. On this channel, I speak about spirituality, self-development, emotional awareness, esoteric content, all this good cosmic wisdom to simplify your spiritual journey. Just know I mess up a lot on my words, but hey, we're all imperfectly perfect. So that's the whole point of this journey, is loving thyself for our whole essence of who God created us. But if you enjoy content just like this that assists you on your journey, then hit that like button, subscribe to this channel, and hit that notification button, which I see, it's just one of those days, but I post 3 videos the week. And lastly, follow me on Instagram as I post daily for your betterment and upliftment, so you can walk on your spiritual journey with more enlightenment and unconditional love for who you are. But awakened ones, I've been wanting to do this topic for a while about the spiritual ego, because being on my spiritual journey, it's already been 7 years since I've been studying this work, doing this work, implementing it in my life, and helping other people assist themselves as well. I have met a lot of mentors, a lot of gurus, even myself, where we fall into the spiritual ego. And the spiritual ego really is that when you first awaken, there's some people who are on their ascension process who are still in the spiritual ego, but you will have better discernment and understanding, not only during your awakening, but while you're still transitioning into your higher self. You'll come to realize that when you realize and awaken to the remembrance that you are a spiritual being in a human body, sometimes we have the tendency to think that we're separate from everyone who aren't on the spiritual journey. So the ego trap sometimes tends to make you believe that you're better than everyone else, tends to make you believe that you know more than others, basically making it seem like you're entitled to this world and everything in it. And that's a trap I see everyone fall into, especially for those who say, oh, I know my way is the right way. If you do it that way, that's not the right way. You know, there are a lot of these different teachers, a lot of these different gurus out here who are not really trying to assist people, but also within ourselves, without doing business or any services rendering, we have a tendency to judge. When you're in the spiritual ego, you can judge a lot. You can try to determine what's spiritual, what is not. You know, the way the ego works, it all stems from fear, and it all stems from thinking that who you are, me, myself, and I, is the center of attention of this world. And the ego is not really meant for that. That the spiritual ego pretty much is, it takes over your energetic field. It takes over and it attracts energy to you that is not good for you, meaning false energy, lies, deception. And all of these things are not who you truly are. So the best way to have discernment of knowing that if you're going to fall into a spiritual ego trap is really when you're sitting down and talking to someone, are you judging them? Are you judging yourself? Are you judging life? Are you not having any compassion? Are you more in your mind or you're in your heart? Because the spiritual ego is all about the mind. It's not about the heart at all. The ego, period, is all about the mind, which is logical, which is the masculine energy, which stays in the frame. But feminine energy is of the heart and it's open. So when you can realize that when you're in here more, you're not being true to who you are because you're imbalanced, because you're only focused on one thing. That is the spiritual ego. The spiritual ego is all about logic. It's all about trying to make sense. It's all about control. It's all about trying to make things happen the way that you want to make happen and try to think that you have the power to change anything. And that's not really true. The only power you have over is yourself and your life. The spiritual ego it's not here to try to destroy us. The ego is not bad at all, which is what I want to clarify to you. The ego is not bad at all, but you must have discernment in realizing your light and your darkness. Are you speaking truth with intention? Are you speaking because you think you know it all? There's a huge difference. But the ego, what the ego is really for, it helps us create boundaries. Like the darkness helps us find consciousness and deep emotions or thoughts that we feel that we can't bear. You know, the ego is really, it's a protective guide. That's what the ego is. It's a protective guide. It helps you set boundaries. It helps you be real. It helps you stick up for yourself. It helps you be a little bit of a gangster, a little bit of a beast, a little bit of a savage. And sometimes you need that because that's your power. Most people think it's all about being in the light, being peace, being love. But guess what? People could take advantage of that and they could be naive because not everyone is of light. And that's where the ego comes in. The ego is here to balance out the light, to know how to spread kindness, but to know how to say, yo, you need to fuck off because this energy you're giving off is no good for me. You trying to touch me, you trying to do things that you're trying to, you know what I mean? Trying to wreck my energy on purpose, you know? So the ego is not bad. I see the ego as like my inner child trying to seek attention, so it turns into this dark figure trying to, trigger me and fall in temptations so it could get my attention. That's how I see the ego, just my inner child turning itself into a false identity so it could get my attention for healing and love. That's how I see it as. But the spiritual ego can be people, I want to say people, it's pretty much traps, patterns where you fall into falsehood, of temptations, of believing things you know aren't true. Pretty much the spiritual ego is all about you edging God out. It's about you divorcing divine and you marrying the ego, marrying the darkness. And you guys, we're not just about darkness. We're not just about the ego. We're not just about egotistical selfishness that we all been taught. The ego is really to help us be able to not have fear for who we are for life. Because think about it, if you can go within the darkness of your own ego, the only thing that you're going to have the power over it is yourself and your life, and you'll be able to change it the way you want to because you were able to go into those dark spaces that you weren't able to do before because you are your light being. And when you're in the light, you can use the darkness so you can hide from things that don't serve you. You see what I'm saying? Both light and darkness are needed. And if you haven't watched my last video about light and darkness and why they are needed, I highly suggest you go watch those. This video will make a lot more sense. But the spiritual ego is pretty much you edging God out. And that's not the whole goal here. The whole goal is to go within that darkness and learn our wounds, learn the pain, and be able to shed light on it and make it conscious, you know? The beginning of time, of life, it was all darkness. And from that darkness sprouted a desire, and that desire created light. We need this darkness because it helps us figure out the truth. It helps us figure out who we are. It helps us too. And you know this is true because think about it. On your darkest day, you learn the most powerful lessons. Not on your bright days. Huge difference. So just know there are differences, like the ego trap of thinking you're better than everyone else. All those characteristics are of the ego trap, are of the spiritual ego. So be wary and have really good discernment, but also know that your shadow self is a part of who you are, and it is needed because that pain, transmuted properly and deliberately, can be your superpower and the best story you can ever tell to inspire this world to be better. But that is all I want to share about the spiritual ego. If you feel this resonated with you, if you feel like it clicked something on for you, like, oh, it helped you, please share. Everything that might resonate with you might resonate with another. Don't deny the power that you have by sharing. Other than that, Awakened Ones, I adore all of you. Thank you so much for being here with me. And please, wherever you are, have a blissful day and feel honored and pleased to be you. Until then, Awakened Ones, I'll see you in the next one. With bliss and love, I adore all of you. Namaste.